On the 2nd of November, the Russian President Vladimir Putin revoked Russia's ratification of the 1996 Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty, which is a global treaty banning nuclear weapons tests. The move sent alarm bells ringing. In an attempt to allay the fears, Moscow said that the revocation would not lead to a resumption of nuclear testing again. But it's also added a caveat. The United States, too, must refrain from nuclear testing. For the record, present-day Russia and erstwhile USSR had tested its last nuclear weapon on the 24th of October in 1990, while the United States' last nuclear test had been on the 23rd of September in 1992. In the backdrop of Russia's special military operation in Ukraine, the revocation has led to increasingly hostile rhetoric and also the arms control architecture that was built since Soviet Union's collapse more than 3 decades ago has now begun to unravel. How credible is the risk of a full-blown nuclear war, especially when viewed in the light of the deteriorating Russia-U.S. relations? Perhaps it would be wise to listen to the voices of the people affected by these nuclear tests and learn from them.
About 450 nuclear tests were conducted between 1949 and 1989 on the barren steppe near the city of Semey, close to the Kazakh-Russian border. More than 100 of these tests were atmospheric, and the rest, post-1963, were conducted underground. The above-ground explosions, known as atmospheric tests, were in practice until 1963. Authorities used to order local people out of their homes and schools for any such detonations above ground, fearing that ground tremors might cause buildings to collapse.
I must have been a 5-year-old boy. I was very young. We have been told training was supposed to take place. At a certain point of time, leave the house and do not look towards Deligan Mountain. But we were young and curious, so we looked in that direction. First came a yellow flash and a black mushroom after it. The adults tried to drive us away.
The effect of radiation exposure was devastating on the environment and on the health of unsuspecting local people. Kazakh authorities estimate up to 1.5 million people were exposed to residual radioactive fallout from testing. What was their compensation? A certificate confirming their status as victims of tests, which made them eligible for an equivalent of a $40 monthly payout. Over 1 million people received such certifications. Some lost most of their family members to related diseases.
My father died when he was 58. Then my elder brother died, and my sister too. All of them died. We were children and knew nothing. Nobody dared to oppose the government then.
Though there is little reliable data available on the specific health impact of testing in Kazakhstan, scientists believe exposure to radioactive material on the ground, inhalation of radioactive particles in the air, and ingestion of contaminated food, including local livestock, did contribute to increased cancer risk and cases of congenital malformation. The damage wasn't just limited to regions exposed to direct radiation. Steppe winds carried the nuclear fallout across an area the size of Italy. A large portion of such territory is still considered too contaminated to inhabit or cultivate. At a time of rising risk of nuclear war, lending an ear to the sagacious voices would be a wise decision.
We are the people who have witnessed the consequences of the nuclear test site activity. If the countries resume nuclear tests, this is going to repeat itself. The population of the world would be killed. Let our sufferings teach others a lesson. It is necessary to convey our distress to other people. If this resumes, the humankind will disappear.
A 1963 treaty banned the nuclear weapons test in the atmosphere, in space or underwater. But the underground testing, too, poses serious environmental and health risks, besides the potential for contamination of groundwater. Most dangerous of all is the fact that the radioactive contamination lasts for generations. A momentary mistake could potentially impair generations to come. It's time the world paid attention.